They didn't even let him finish his sentence. The single dad in the worn-out suit barely got halfway through his answer before one of the executives closed his resume. "Thank you for your time." That was it. 3 words. 3 words that could decide whether his daughter had stability or another month of uncertainty. But as he walked out of the building, rejected, overlooked, dismissed, the billionaire CEO suddenly froze, because something on his resume didn't make sense. A project name. A system architecture signature. A detail only one person in the world could have written. Her expression changed. "Stop him," she said. But by the time she realized who he really was, he was already walking away. And if she didn't reach him in time, her entire company was about to collapse. I still remember the way they looked at me. Not angry, not impressed, just uninterested, like I didn't matter, like I was already rejected before I even opened my mouth. The interview room was cold. Too cold, or maybe it just felt that way because my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I pressed them together under the table so they wouldn't notice. Across from me sat 3 people. 2 executives flipping through my resume, and at the center her, Victoria Langford, the billionaire CEO, sharp eyes, perfect posture, the kind of presence that fills a room without trying. She didn't smile, she didn't frown, she just observed, like I was a problem she needed to solve quickly. "Mr. Carter," one of the executives said, barely looking up. "You've been out of corporate work for 3 years. "Yes," I answered calmly, "and before that you were a senior systems architect." "That's correct," Victoria finally spoke. Her voice was smooth, controlled. "And why," she asked, "would someone with that background apply for a mid-level IT support role?" There it was, the judgment, the quiet assumption that I had fallen. That I had failed, I swallowed. "Because I need stability," I said. No one asked why. No one asked about the nights in the hospital, the medical bills, the custody battle. The years I chose my daughter over my career. They didn't want that story. They wanted clean resumes, upward graphs, predictable success. Victoria leaned back in her chair. "You understand this position reports to people far less experienced than you." "Yes." "And you're comfortable taking instructions from them?" "Yes." She exchanged a glance with the other executives. And I saw it, the decision, already made. 5 minutes later, I was standing. "Thank you for coming in," one of them said politely. "We'll be pursuing candidates more aligned with our needs." More aligned. That's corporate language for "you don't fit here," I nodded. No argument, no pride. I had long ago learned that dignity isn't loud. I shook their hands, even hers. Her grip was firm, professional, indifferent, and just like that, it was over. I stepped outside into the bright afternoon sun. My phone buzzed, a message from Lily. "Dad, how did it go? Did you get it?" I stared at the screen, and for a moment I didn't know what hurt more. The rejection or the idea of disappointing her. "It went okay," I typed back. "I'll tell you everything tonight. Pizza." 3 dots appeared instantly. "Always pizza," I smiled. She was 12. And somehow stronger than I had ever been. I began walking toward the parking lot. That's when I heard shouting behind me. "Wait, sir, excuse me." I turned. A young assistant in heels was running toward me out of breath. "Mr. Carter?" "Yes." "Please don't leave yet. The CEO, she needs you to come back upstairs." I blinked. I thought the interview was over. "It is," she said nervously, "but something just happened." When I re-entered the building, the atmosphere had changed. The calm corporate polish was gone. Employees were whispering, phones were ringing non-stop, and inside the executive conference room, chaos. Victoria stood near a wall of screens, all of them flashing red warnings. "System breach detected. Unauthorized access. Data extraction in progress." My heart dropped. I knew that interface, I knew that architecture, because I built the early version of it 4 years ago. Before the company rebranded, before investors took over, before Victoria became CEO. She turned when I entered, and for the first time her composure cracked. "You recognize this?" she asked sharply. I stepped closer, studied the patterns. The breach wasn't random, it was surgical. "They're not stealing customer data," I said quietly. "They're targeting internal financial pipelines." One executive snapped. "How do you know that?" "Because the decoy firewall is still intact," I replied. "If they were amateurs, it would be gone." Silence. Victoria stared at me. "You said you were a systems architect." "I was. You designed this." "Yes," her jaw tightened. "Our cybersecurity team says they've never seen this vulnerability before." "They wouldn't," I said. "It's not a vulnerability. It's a hidden backdoor. The room froze. I felt every pair of eyes on me. "You built a backdoor?" one executive demanded. "No," I said evenly. "The former CTO did, and I warned him, but he didn't listen because he planned to use it." Victoria's voice lowered. "Use it for what? To manipulate quarterly projections." The room erupted. "That's absurd. Do you have proof?" I met Victoria's gaze. "I buried a failsafe inside the original code. If anyone ever activated that backdoor, it would trigger a silent alert," she swallowed. "And that's what this is." "Yes," she stepped closer. "Can you stop it?" I looked at the screens again, at the cascading financial transfers at the time ticking down. "I can," I said. "But you need to disconnect external access and authorize root override." Her executives hesitated. "He doesn't even work here." Victoria didn't look at them. She looked at me. And for the first time, she wasn't seeing a rejected candidate. She was seeing the only person in the room who understood the storm. "Do it," she ordered. For the next 20 minutes, the world narrowed to code. Commands, encryption layers, tracing IP shadows. The breach was sophisticated, but it wasn't smarter than the system I designed. Because I knew its bones, its heartbeat, its secrets, finally the transfer streams froze. The red warnings disappeared. Silence returned. One of the executives checked his tablet. "The funds, they're secure," another whispered. He stopped it. Victoria exhaled slowly. The tension drained from the room, but something else replaced it. Realization. She turned to me. "You said the former CTO created this?" "Yes. He resigned 2 months ago." I nodded. "He didn't resign. He left before someone noticed." She stared at me as the weight of it settled. If the breach had succeeded, the company would have collapsed. Stock prices, investor trust, everything. And the man they had just rejected was the only reason it didn't. An hour later, the building was calmer. Victoria asked me to sit in her office. This time, there were no executives, no audience, just her. "You could have walked away," she said. "Yes, why didn't you?" I thought about Lily. About the nights she fell asleep doing homework beside hospital machines. About the years I chose love over promotion. "Because the company didn't hurt me," I said. "Circumstances did." She studied me carefully. "You never told us why you left your previous role." "You didn't ask." Silence. Then she said quietly, "Tell me now." So I did, about Lily's illness, about selling our house, about freelance contracts at night, about rebuilding from nothing. When I finished, Victoria wasn't looking at my resume anymore. She was looking at me. "I misjudged you," she admitted. "Yes," I said gently. "And I owe you more than an apology." She slid a folder across the desk. "Chief Systems Security Officer." I blinked. "That's not a mid-level support role." "No," she said. "It's the position you should have been offered." I hesitated. "I need stability," I reminded her. "You'll have it. And flexibility. For Lily," my throat tightened. "And equity shares," she added. "In recognition of today." I stared at the offer, not because of the money, but because of what it represented. Respect, recognition, redemption. That night, Lily and I still had pizza. Only this time, I told her everything. Her eyes widened. "So you saved the whole company?" "I helped," I smiled. She grinned proudly. "I knew they were dumb to reject you," I laughed. "Maybe they just didn't know me yet." She hugged me tightly. And in that moment, I realized something important. Success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about staying steady long enough for the truth to reveal itself. 6 months later, the company was stronger than ever. The corrupt backdoor scandal made headlines. Victoria publicly acknowledged my role, but what mattered more was the culture change. No more judging resumes without stories. No more dismissing quiet people, because sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one who understands everything. And sometimes the single dad you almost overlook is the one holding the foundation together. If there's one thing I learned, it's this: never measure someone by where they stand today. You don't know the battles they've fought, the sacrifices they've made, or the strength they carry silently, because the truth about who someone really is doesn't always appear on paper. Sometimes you have to look deeper, and sometimes, by the time you do, it's almost too late. Before you go, let me ask you something. How many quiet people around us are carrying stories we never bother to hear? How many fathers, mothers, ordinary people are fighting silent battles just to keep their families standing? If this story moved you even a little, don't just scroll away. Take 1 second, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below and tell me, Have you ever been underestimated and later proved your worth? Your story might inspire someone else. And if you believe that dignity, patience, and quiet strength still matter in this world, subscribe to this channel. Because here we don't celebrate noise, we celebrate resilience. We celebrate heart, and we remind the world that sometimes the most powerful people are the ones no one sees coming. Thank you for watching. And remember, never judge someone's value by the moment you meet them. You might be looking at someone extraordinary,